Welcome to another Resilience Boost. Today's topic is on the value of self-compassion in nurturing greater resilience. Self-compassion is a topic that's dear to my heart because we all stumble. We all get caught in moments of self-doubt, self-loathing even. The anxious swirl when we feel like something is wrong with me, I'm not good enough. Something is wrong with life, it's not good enough. I need to fix whatever is, and we get caught in this almost like rapid problem solving of I need to fix something that's wrong. We get caught in an anxious brain swirl, and we may have feelings of overwhelm that are happening inside that are part of this cycle of really that not good enough feeling. We get kind of stuck. And what's really interesting is all the research coming out in the past years about how self-compassion, self-kindness is absolutely essential for being able to move forward, for motivation, for positive growth out of those stuck places of self-loathing. It helps us to soften and be able to offer ourselves the kind of care and compassion that you might receive when you're in the presence of a loving friend, a family member or mentor, or even a pet. Learning to offer our own suffering that same compassion, same care that can help relieve the suffering and allow us to dust ourselves off from our stumbling and move forward again. It also is essential for well-being. So self-compassion is really a valuable tool in nurturing our own resilience, especially when we're caught in a wave of suffering. So let's find a few minutes to practice self-compassion. And we're going to use 3 tenets of self-compassion research by Dr. Kristin Neff, who's a wonderful teacher and researcher on the value of self-compassion. You can look up her talks and get really valuable information from those. But we'll practice just a few of her 3 most important elements of self-compassion in today's meditation. So let's just take 3 minutes for ourselves. Allowing your eyes to gently close if that feels comfortable. Letting yourself feel supported by your chair, the floor, the ground beneath you. Bringing your mindful awareness into the sounds that are happening in this moment. The 2 essential questions of any meditation practice are, what is happening right now? That's cultivating awareness of the present moment. What is happening right now in my senses, in my thoughts, in my emotions? And the second question is can I be with it? Can I be with whatever is happening in a compassionate, non-judgmental way? So Dr. Neff identifies mindfulness as being the first essential tenet in developing self-compassion. Oftentimes when we got caught in the swirl of anxious brain or depressive thoughts, we really believe them. We feel very identified with them. We think that something is wrong or something's wrong with me, I'm not good enough. So mindfulness allows us to just take a step back and notice the swirl. without needing to just be so caught in it, almost getting curious about just the state of my mind, the state of my emotions in this moment, without judging. The second component is to be able to lean into our experience of suffering with compassion and kindness and care, rather than what we so often do, try to avoid our own suffering. We go up into thinking, how can I fix it? How can I solve it? But what we actually most often need in order to move through the suffering and be able to move forward in a more clear and positive and resilient way is to turn towards our suffering. So almost that your own internal suffering is like a crying child or a wounded animal. It just needs your love and attention. You might practice turning towards by just offering a releasing breath to your inner suffering. On the exhale, a sense of softening around whatever's happening, just allowing it to be here just as it is, without judging. You can also really access the self-compassion by putting our hand on our heart or on our belly. It's a really wonderful way of turning towards just the warmth and pressure of our hand. Helps to reduce feelings of stress and anxiety. The third component of self-compassion is just to recognize the universality of suffering. Oftentimes when we're caught in the swirl of suffering, we feel so alone. Somehow something is wrong with me, I've done something wrong. Instead of recognizing just how universal suffering is and how it's just part of our common humanity. We all have anxiety, we all have sadness, we all have fear. So when we can bring ourselves into awareness of the universality of it, rather than getting so caught in it's my anxiety, my sadness, my awfulness, rather than this is what happens in life. This is what happens to people everywhere on the planet, in each moment. We can, again, kind of step out of our own suffering swirl and find a sense of greater awareness and compassion for our common humanity, for our own suffering. And just taking a few more heart-centered breaths, if you can, just leaning into the internal experience, especially if there's some suffering present for you today. It can be hard to lean in, but just do your best, one breath at a time. And if you need to lean out, you might open your eyes, or just be mindfully aware of the sounds that are happening around you in this moment. And when you're ready, fluttering open your eyes, giving yourself a gentle pat on the back for practicing some self-compassion, a key foundation of resilience, especially when we've stumbled, to just pick ourselves up and be kind to ourselves so we can move forward in a healthier, more positive way. So take it one self-compassionate, self-kindness breath at a time this week. Offer kindness to yourself so that you can learn to be your own best friend rather than your worst enemy. And I'll look forward to seeing you in this space again for another resilience boost next week. Be well.